여기는 주 종이 오렌지. 그런 거야. 그래서 인디안 이거야. Not the people live in the Indians. Alright? 한수?
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Any question?
집사님 얘기 좀 많이 하세요. 지금
So quiet. What's the matter with you?
지금 피오밍 됩니다.
Oh no.
벌써 다 됐어요.
Oh no.
I'm Irish that we take a trip.
선장 캡틴 허 한수 sit around, sit back.
TBS냐 이게 뭐냐?
예,
옐로 프로포간다.
도미 잡았습니다.
도미는 뭐야?
저기 봄이요.
흑돔이.
스냅퍼.
스냅퍼 한수.
Is that a prey or a predator?
아이씨.
Predator.
스냅퍼. 맹그로브 스냅퍼.
Ah, ¿en serio no?
되게 그냥 빠삭빠삭 뛴다.
Stand still.
뭐 아는구만 이게 지금. 살은 다 먹었네 그럼.
여기 좀 봐봐, 여기 좀 찍어봐. 따단. 아, 이거 찍혔습니다.
재밌다.
찍게. 어디서 찍게.
집게 한.
와. 됐어. 이거 한 마리만 잡으면 끝난 거야. 참.
What type of fish is that?
이제 가서 해쳐 먹자 하세요.
진짜 크네.
아우 재밌다.
이야,
How many pounds?
굉장하네. 이야, 역시 그 배주인이 역할 톡톡히 하네.
야.
라이브 베이트.
좋아. 한수, 새우. 아, 뭐야?
그래서 이게 무슨 호텔이야? What is the name of the hotel? Radisson Hotel. In Orlando, Miami. In Orlando, Florida. 한시야 오늘이 며칠이야? What day today?
Tuesday.
This exhibition tour is
살짝 오렌지 설탕
이거 라켓 가든 이쪽으로 돌아가야 되나? 이렇게 돌아서 한번 와가지고 아이맥스 보고 그지? 그래서 나중에 투어버스로 해서 이거 보는 거야. 투어버스 여기서 타서 이렇게 보는 거야 이거. 이렇게? 이쪽으로 가야지 그럼.
정말 대단한 스페이스 플랜입니다. 한수도 이거 타보지 그래.
This goes about 2 miles out to the shuttle landing facility. When the orbiters land, they tow them back in, keep the front wheel right on that blue line through. The building out in front of us is receiving and checkout for these solid rocket boosters. They arrive in segments fully loaded by rail from Brigham City, Utah. Takes 4 sections to make up a solid rocket booster. When they carry them over here, they put 2 spacer cars between each rail section. Any idea what color this might be? That's it. NASA blue. Around the curve to the right, the large gray platform is a mobile launcher platform. That's one of 3 that we have at the Space Center. The crawler transporter, which I'll show you when we get a little further around the building, will work its way up under this, pick it up, take it into the vehicle assembly building where they stack the shuttle. First the 2 solid rocket boosters, then the large orange external fuel tank, finally the orbiter. Then the whole rig is moved out to the launch pad. So the shuttle is actually going to lift off from the top of this platform. If you look underneath of it, you'll see 3 large holes. That's part of the exhaust system. The flames come down through those holes into a flame trench on the pad. At that point, they're putting over 300,000 gallons of water down, and they do that in about 30 seconds. You'd think they'd be trying to control the heat, but that's not the case. They're trying to deaden the sound. They don't want those sound waves bouncing back up and damaging the shuttle. So when you watch a launch on TV and you see this massive cloud of white smoke, that is actually steam. The smaller building on the left of the vehicle assembly building with the dark shutters is Launch Control Center. That is the electronic brain of Launch Complex 39. And even though computers do handle most launch operations, there would still be about 200 engineers and technicians inside on launch day. We maintain control of the shuttle until about the time it clears the tower. Then we transfer it over to mission control in Houston. You can see a crawler transporter positioned in front of the door here.
You see it? It's a big tank.
Looks like they've made a shuffle since last time I saw the door open. They had that mobile launcher platform in the far bay. Looks like they moved it over to this side. They'd already had the solid rocket boosters and a large orange external fuel tank on it, so it looks like we're going to have a treat to see that today. Those doors aren't usually open. This crawler transporter, 6 million pounds. Surface area on top is about the size of a baseball infield. Goes out to the pad at about 1 mile an hour. Unloaded, races back at twice that speed. Has diesel engines that power generators that run electric motors on the tracks.
I don't know. Let's see. But there it is.
There's one of the solid rocket boosters, white inside there. You should be able to see, after we get a little further on, you can should be able to see the orange external fuel tank on the right of that.
See this there? Yeah. You can see the tank.
This is the crawlerway beside us. It's about the width of an 8-lane highway. They had to dig it down about 7 feet deep, fill it back in with various layers of fill, compact fill, fresh gravel, and finally putting river rock up on top. They chose river rock because it doesn't spark. Now I can tell the crawler moved. You see the tracks. This was nicely graded yesterday. So they have to grade it every time because you can see it pretty well crushes the top layers.
Sorry.
Now you can see back and get a better look at that tank and solid rocket booster and see the other one coming into view. If you look out in front of us across the street, you'll see some power lines and poles over there, occasionally a bird's nest. Those are osprey fish hawks. They like to build on top of poles. To keep an eye out, you'll see them around.
See those big two yellow things? That's where they carry the solid rock boosters down.
Hi, I'm Bob Myers, assistant engineer for Crawler Transport.
Big steel.
Been on the Crawler Transporter now for about 20
That's where
years.
they carry them from
Crawler is a vehicle that's used to move the shuttle and the mobile launch platform from the vehicle assembly building to the pad. It does equate pretty much just like being on a ship.
Pad. It's about 3.5 miles from the vehicle assembly building, and it's on the National Historic Register. Every manned Apollo mission that landed on the moon, as well as the first space shuttle left from that pad. Pad 39B is a little farther to the left across the trees. Discovery is currently on that pad. Launch date opens July 13th, so hopefully we can get that one off next month. These two launch pads are the only launch facilities that we have at Kennedy Space Center. All other launch facilities in the area belong to Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. As we make this turn to the right, you'll be able to see some of those launch facilities off in the distance. The Air Force is responsible for all the unmanned launches, including Delta, Titan, and Atlas rockets. As we approach your first stop here at the observation gantry, keep in mind it is elevator accessible, and it's as close as you're going to get to the launch facilities today. Spend as much time here as you like, then jump on the next bus over to the Apollo Saturn V Center. It may not be this bus, so make sure you've got all your belongings with you before you leave. I do ask that you remain seated till we get the bus stop and the doors open, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day at Kennedy Space Center.
Ultimate model.
Yes, sir.
This model gives Canadian.
굉장히 아주 굉장히.
Yeah, 40,000 people involved with it.
Come on. Let's go look at this one in the middle. Okay. Come on, let's get this.
In 10 seconds. Sequence story.
The launch pads of Complex 39 are where the journey to space begins. This is where months of preparation come down to a final few hours. The launch countdown. The count starts formally about 2.5 days before the moment of liftoff. While countdown activities provide workers access to the shuttle while protecting it from contamination and damaging weather. A tall stationary tower called the Fixed Service Structure has 3 movable service arms, an access arm for crew, and 2 vent arms which route propellant gases away from the vehicle. Atop the fixed service structure is the lightning mast, which protects the tower and the shuttle from lightning strikes. The rotating service structure provides protected access to all the shuttle's critical points. It also
한시야, it's recording.
Cable, 부탁해 부탁해.
그래 그래. 나 이제 가자 저기.
Finish now, Anna. 절대 막지 않자.
Television personnel, newspaper reporters, and photographers located in this area. And as we come back around to this side of the VEB, once again we can see the large American flag and the massive emblem painted on the side of the building. Of course, it is rather difficult to realize the tremendous size of the VEB. And taking notice of the stars on the American flag, they do have a diagonal measurement, about 6 feet from point to point. Various mobile housing we've seen throughout the area actually used as offices and workshops, orbiter processing facilities, commonly called the OPF.
When I walk into the OPF here, the first thing that I see is the people. And that's the first thing that I focus on. And it's a great opportunity for astronauts to come down here and meet the people that actually work on the orbiter and that get us ready to fly and get us flying space. There's one thing that they all have in common, and that's their love of the space program and their dedication to getting the shuttles flying, getting them flying safely, and continuing on with this great mission that we have of exploring space.
The orbiter will spend the next 90 days right here in the orbiter processing facility, where we'll spend approximately 300,000 work hours deservicing it for one mission, reconfiguring that orbiter for the next mission, and then preparing it to roll over to the vehicle assembly building for the next one.
You gotta follow procedure. That's the main thing. Safety is the most important issue when it comes to work.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to do any flash photography, please do so at this time. Flash photos are not permitted during the presentation.
Commander 아니야. Commander station over here.
Let's just fly, mommy.
Do you wanna fly to the moon?
Mommy, let's just fly.
Yes, central.
Yes, central.
"36 stories high. She had been fully fueled throughout the night. The liquid oxygen in her tanks caused ice to form on the outside of the craft. The extreme temperature differences between the air and the sub-zero fuel caused the metal skin of the rocket to expand and contract. Everyone who was on the pad agreed. It was as though the rocket was alive, breathing, straining at the leash. Earlier in the morning, astronauts Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders had made their final preparations before taking that long ride out to the waiting spacecraft. The minimum safe distance from the Saturn V at liftoff was 3 miles. The reason was simple. When fully fueled, the rocket contained the explosive power of an atomic bomb. As the clock counted down, the astronauts and all of us in launch control went through the pre-flight checks. Our hands on the controls of the most powerful, most complex machine ever built. It had over 2 million separate systems. And to bring these men back alive, everything had to work perfectly. Each individual system had been tested. But what we didn't know was how they would perform when all 2 million began to work together. That moment would come when the countdown clock reached 0. If a maneuvering thruster failed, if communications broke down, if navigation was off by 1 degree, if any piece of the miles of wiring, circuits, relays, or valves was defective, Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders would pay with their lives. As they sat, waiting for launch on that chill December morning, these three astronauts were back to what they had always been, test pilots. You are now in the final minutes before the launch of Apollo 8, right here where it actually happened. Mankind is about to leave his planet behind and journey to another. It is one of those rare moments when history is not being made, destiny is being embraced.
This is launch control. T-minus 3 minutes and counting. We've completed our communications checks with the Apollo 8 astronauts in the cabin, and the communications are go. During this period, once we do get the firing command, the various tanks within the 3 stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle begin to pressurize. We have firing command. The firing command is in. We have all the automatic sequence. T-minus 2 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting. Our status board indicates that all aspects are ready. Instrument unit is ready, spacecraft ready. Final check of the emergency detection system, that ready light also now. First stage preparations are completed.
All systems remain okay.
Keep going. We're on. Ready to go to cockpit. Stand by water. Okay, you're on.
All systems go.
1 minute 45 seconds and counting. First stage newer oxygen tank has been pressurized, and the pressure is still building up. Coming up in 90 seconds, mark, T-minus 90 seconds and coming. The Apollo 8 crew standing by, spacecraft commander Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, Bill Anders. We now report that the liquid hydrogen tank in the third stage is pressurized, 1 minute 15 seconds. All third stage propellants pressurized at this time as we come up on the 60-second mark on the flight to the moon. T-minus 60 seconds and counting. The vehicle now is completely pressurized. We're coming up on a power transfer shortly. We have the power transfer. We're now on the flight batteries within the launch vehicle. Final reports coming from Frank Borman at this time. Final look at the switch list aboard the spacecraft. 20 seconds, all aspects. We are still low at this time. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Sequence start. The engines are on. 4.
Apollo 8 successfully orbited the moon, and the astronauts returned safely to the Earth. I know. I'm Jim Lovell, and I was one of the crew of this spacecraft, Apollo 8. We were the first men to see the surface of the moon from just a few miles away. But it was the hundreds of thousands of men and women who worked in that team, and the millions of people who supported the mission that really made it possible. That way, I guess, we all went to the moon. Now, on the other side of those doors, you'll find an actual Saturn V moon model. It's still the most powerful, the most complex machine ever built. And I guess it's the only one that can take you to another planet. I actually got to fly one on a second flight to the moon called Apollo 13. But that's another story.
Amazing. Wow. 굉장하네요.
한숨 배고프대요.
오케이.
Your dream 보이지만 엄마는
My dream, that was my dream.
sunset sun이다.
And so what was the crew member? Apollo?
14. No, 17.
잘도 먹는다. 야, 너 매까지 국수를 먹는 거니? Caesar salad, French fries, and pepperoni pizza. 재밌다 한시야. 아폴로 13과 아폴로 8과 우리 함께 점심을 먹는구나.
got, Jacob?
He's got blue. He got blue. And the other one's you don't want to